Hi, my name is Sylvie. I am a certified health coach and fitness trainer, and I strive to help you achieve flexibility of the body, the metabolism, and the mindset with tools like fasting, stretching, and mindfulness. And today's video is an ultimate guide to intermittent fasting for weight loss. We are going to address all the basics of intermittent fasting for weight loss, including what is intermittent fasting, how does it work, is it an appropriate weight loss tool for you, and a step-by-step formula that you can implement to successfully lose weight with intermittent fasting. Let's start with what is intermittent fasting. I often emphasize the fact that intermittent fasting is not about skipping breakfast because so many health experts seem to equate both. Skipping breakfast means intermittent fasting. However, I do not recommend that you practice intermittent fasting just skipping breakfast. And we're going to dive into that later. Another way to define intermittent fasting is time-restricted eating. So it simply means restricting all your calorie intake to a predetermined eating window. And there's various ways to go about that. For example, if you decide to restrict all your calorie intake within a 6-hour window, you could be eating from say 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. So in that case, you're not skipping breakfast, you're skipping dinner. You could also decide to fast for 24 hours twice a week. And in that case, well, you're not eating for 2 full days. But then the rest of the week, you're eating your breakfast, you're eating your 3 square meals. Anyway, more on choosing the right intermittent fasting method for you later. Now, how does intermittent fasting work? Obviously, it works by reducing the number of calories you consume, because consuming fewer calories than what your body needs ultimately is the only way to lose weight. However, intermittent fasting allows you to do that without worrying about counting calories and without feeling hungry constantly, because not only restricting your eating window enables you to naturally consume fewer calories and then feeling really satisfied all the other hours that are part of the eating window. It also takes advantage of something called metabolic flexibility. Metabolic flexibility is also known as becoming a fat burner, which means that your body can switch from burning glucose to burning ketones for energy with ease. Now, how do you determine if you can benefit from intermittent fasting? I'm sure you've heard of many horror stories of people who've wrecked their hormones through intermittent fasting, and this may be something that concerns you a little bit. So before I give you some signs that you will benefit from intermittent fasting, let me just put your mind at ease. Remember, it is possible to over-exercise, and people can wreck their hormones by over-exercising, right? Any stress on your body, whether it's exercising, whether it's calorie restriction, whether it's fasting, could have a negative impact on your hormones. But for some reason, nobody will ever say, don't exercise. I know someone who wrecked their hormones because they exercised, right? It just doesn't happen. So I don't understand why we do that with something as natural as fasting. It's the same thing. Again, there is a way to fast wrong for your body, but there is a way to do it right that will not overstress your body. Fasting can benefit most people, but it may not be necessary for you. You may be able to reach your health goals simply by eating whole foods, not eating when you're not hungry, and moving your body. But there are 3 main signs that you will definitely benefit from becoming metabolically flexible using intermittent fasting. Number 1, you crave foods overall, particularly sweets after a meal. Number 2, hunger makes you feel miserable rather than just being a sensation in your belly. And number 3, you find that eating carbs makes you want to eat more carbs. These signs most likely mean that you need to improve your insulin sensitivity and And becoming metabolically flexible using intermittent fasting is not only going to accomplish that, but it will train your body to use ketones for energy, which will really take care of these typical issues that many people struggle with. Now, if you decide that intermittent fasting is a weight loss tool that you want to implement, I have a step-by-step formula that I like to recommend because I find it works so well. That's what enabled me to lose 30 pounds after the age of 40 without counting calories, without feeling deprived, all the while healing my body. So the first step is to become fat adapted. Now, how do you become fat adapted? I have two favorite ways, and one of them is a 5-day modified fast. 5-day modified fast relies on severe calorie restriction, low protein intake, and fewer carbs to trigger autophagy, heal your body, and get you in ketosis. It is based on the fasting mimicking diet, which was designed by Dr. Walter Longo. I offer many DIY meal plans on my website, and if you click on the link in the description below, it's my blog post, and you'll find all the links there. You'll find the meal plans and more information about what modified fasting involves. There are some benefits and some disadvantages with both ways that I recommend to become fat adapted. The disadvantage with a modified fast is that you'll feel hungry. You'll feel very hungry. However, you will not have to struggle through a keto flu, and you'll be done very shortly, right? It's only 5 days long. The other method that I recommend to become fat adapted is a 7-day, at least 7 days, maybe even a little bit longer, a keto cycle. And again, on my website, I have a meal plan that you can use. My meal plan, however, is keto and intermittent fasting. It doesn't mean that you need to skip breakfast. Maybe a keto coffee is not your thing. In that case, you could substitute, have eggs for breakfast, some meat, and eat more to satisfy your hunger. I really want to encourage you to not focus on restricting calories. You want to just focus on limiting carbs. And so if that's the approach you choose, the advantage is that you won't feel hungry. The disadvantage is that you will most likely get the keto flu. You'll feel sick for a couple days. Many people recommend a teaspoon of Himalayan salt in water to help with those symptoms. So that's something you could try, but you just have to wait for it to pass. It is what it is. And then after you become fat adapted, you can start experimenting with intermittent fasting. Now it'll be a lot easier to pick the right intermittent fasting window for you. When you select your intermittent fasting method, I typically recommend that you go for a longer fasting window, but you do not fast every day. My 3 favorite approaches are: 1, the warrior diet, and so that means you fast for 20 hours, maybe 4 or 5 days a week. Another one is the eat, stop, eat method, where you fast for 24 hours, only 2 or 3 days a week. And the other method that I tend to recommend is the 5-2 method. The 5-2 method requires you to eat only 500 calories 2 days a week. See, it's not about skipping breakfast. And step number 3 would be to monitor your ketone levels. When you experiment with intermittent fasting, it's likely that you'll have to troubleshoot to find the right method, and that maybe the exact number of hours you fast won't be the same every single day. It'll depend on how you feel. It'll depend on what time of the month you are in your cycle. And so it's always important that throughout the process, you listen to your body. So you want to make sure that you feel the switch on your fasting days, that you feel the difference that you felt when you became fat adapted, which was to feel a bit less appetite, feel that hunger wasn't bothering you the same way, and feel more energetic, those sort of things. But you can also buy a ketone monitor and track your ketone levels. That's really helpful to have that number. Sometimes to see that number helps you because it confirms how you feel. It helps you know what ketone level is optimal for you, and ensure that on your fasting days you you reach that optimal level. Typically, you'll find that this level sits at around 1.0 to 1.5 on a ketone monitor. And again, if you'd like my recommendation for a ketone monitor, you'll find that in the blog post in the description. Number 4, once you reach your goal weight, you'll need to maintain that weight. When I talk about weight loss using intermittent fasting, I often say that your weight loss goal needs to be slow and steady. It takes time to gain all that weight. It's gonna take time to lose it in a sustainable way. So most likely after a year or two of whatever intermittent fasting method that you've been implementing, you'll feel amazing. You'll have developed a lifestyle that works well for you, but eventually you'll have to loosen your fasting window so that you stop losing weight, but you'll still want to keep fasting once in a while to maintain the benefits and to not regain the weight you lost. So the way I like to go about that now that I have reached my goal weight is to simply eat when I'm hungry. Now, if I'm hungry earlier during the day, whether it's before lunch or a little bit after lunch, and sometimes it's a bit later in the afternoon, I eat whenever I feel hungry. And then if I start feeling some symptoms coming back, like cravings or poor sleep, then I allow myself one longer fasting window, like maybe a 20 to 24 hour fast, just as a reset. But otherwise, I don't really intentionally restrict my eating window. I'm learning to listen to my body, and that's what you'll also need to do when you finally get to that point where you have reached your goal weight. Now, if you would like a little bit more guidance with using intermittent fasting for weight loss, I do have a digital program. It's called the 30-Day Intermittent Fasting Transformation Program. I offer coaching packages. I'll put links in the description below. You can check those out. But the key to success with intermittent fasting for weight loss is all about training your body to switch from glucose for energy to ketones for energy, and getting your body to do that on a regular basis, because it will really help decrease your appetite, decrease your food cravings. It'll help you feel amazing. It'll decrease your inflammation. So it's everything that you need to do to lose weight naturally in a way that's sustainable, and that's why I am so passionate about it. I hope you found this ultimate guide to intermittent fasting for weight loss useful, and that you'll refer back to this video whenever you feel a bit lost in the process. And again, thank you for watching.